Now, as part of today's tutorial, I am going to show you how to do the actual technique itself. So the netting stitch to create that tube-like structure. And then once you've learned that, I'm going to show you how you can turn it into a bangle, but I'll also show you how you can add on a clasp for those of you who'd prefer it to have a clasp rather than to be as that single bangle piece. So that's what we're going to be covering today. Of course, in terms of materials, you'll need some bicone beads, which I'm using 4mm bicones. Of course, you could use this with pretty much any size bead and any size seed bead. It will work with pretty much any combination of beads, but today I'm using 4mm bicones and I'm going to use Preciosa size 10s. You could also use your Japanese, so Miyuki and Toho size 11 seed beads if you wanted to. And then if you want to do it with a clasp, you'd need a magnetic clasp or a toggle, whatever sort of clasp you want. And then you just need some thread and a beading needle. I absolutely love this one because look how sparkly the crystals are. They are absolutely iridescent. And if I just zoom in, if I get a little bit closer, you can see that they actually have like a very, very subtle rainbow iridescence to them as well. So they've got these flecks of like teals and blues and purples all on the bead, every single bead. There you go. Look, there was a nice flash of purple from that one. Just looks like a black bead, but then when it catches the light in just the right way, you get all these golds and teals and lovely colors as well. So that's our Midnight Scandal. Those are the 6 different colors. This is the one I'm going to teach you the main technique and how to turn it into a bangle. And then I'm also going to show you with this one how to add a magnetic clasp, which I've just got one just here, which is a nice little metallic one just here in bright silver, which has a very strong little magnet, and then it has like a marquisite coating all over it. So anyway, we've got some more people cropping up and commenting, which is fantastic. Make sure you keep those comments coming. If you are brand new, make sure you like, subscribe, all of that usual stuff that you hear on every tutorial you've ever seen ever. Now, let's finally begin with the tutorial. Like I said, if you missed the very, very beginning, we're going to be using 4mm crystal bicones. You can use other shapes and sizes as well. As you can see, I've got a little demo piece just here with some 4mm rounds and some 6mm rounds. You can try out different size beads if you want to. And then I have size 10 Preciosas. You could go even smaller if you want it to be even finer. If you have a look, the thickness with a 4mm, it's probably about 1 centimeter or a little bit less than ½ an inch in diameter. And then that's using those lovely Preciosa size 10s. This one is a matte metallic that I'm going to be using just here for today's tutorial. Sorry about that. And then, of course, I've just got the 4mm bicones, which you will need somewhere in the region of about 150 to 200 of them, because we're going to do them in little groups of 3. Now, this design, you could do it with bigger groups like 4s and 5s and 6. The premise is exactly the same. So I'll sort of teach you, and hopefully it will all make sense to sort of take it even further if you wanted to. But of course, if you want to go and grab our kit, there's a link in the description. Those 6 different colors, you can get them yourselves. So let's begin. First things first, I'll grab myself out my lovely over the rainbow purple colored seed beads. And then you can see just here, these are the crystals. I got a couple of strands just here. And you can see, very, very sparkly. It helps. If you've got opaque crystals, you definitely get a much brighter sparkle, as it were. See, look, you can compare the difference. This one has the transparent, which makes the netting stand out more. And then these ones have the metallic, opaque colored crystals, which makes the crystals stand out maybe more than the netting. So the preference is yours on how you would like to do it. Of course, you can use any crystal, any color seed bead. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to be using this lovely metallic one just here. And then I've got my matte metallic purple as well to go with it. And now let's begin. So first things first, I'm going to just pour out some of my beads onto the table just here to begin with. And then once we have that, I'll show you the basic technique. It is really, really, really simple and very, very easy to do. And once you've learned it, I reckon I could teach you this in just a few minutes' time. Once you've learned that, it's really easy to just continue, repeat until it's the length you want it. So you could use this even for like bag straps. You could do a long one for a necklace if you wanted to. It's up to you how you want to do it. But once you've learnt the technique, it's one of those really, really easy ones that is just repeat until you reach the size that you want it to be. So if I just cut my little strand of crystals just here, we can begin. So as I said, first thing you want to do is make sure you have a good quality beading thread. Goes a long way. You can use like a fire line if you wanted to. I much prefer thread type ones. So if you've got Ceylon or Eslon, you can use those, but I always use Spiderlon beading thread because I absolutely love it. If you get our kit, it will include Spiderlon beading thread. So I've got myself just a little piece here, which I will use. You don't need too much. Here's a nice dark one so you can see what I'm doing. It's like a nice rich reddy brown color, which I'll be using because it kind of matches with our color palette on this particular instance. So first things first, grab yourself your beading needle. Now, the difference between a regular needle and a beading needle, for those of you who don't know, is the size of the eye of the needle. So you need to use a very, very fine thread because you also have a very, very fine eye of your needle because it needs to pass through the holes of the beads. So if you have a large hole bead, you can have a larger needle, but if you've got small beads like the ones we're going to be using today, you need to have a very, very fine needle. Okay, so to begin, first thing that we're going to do is grab ourselves, actually, I'll keep the bead mat kind of in position so we can see. First thing we're going to need is 3 crystals. This part right now determines the size of your design. So if you choose 3 crystals, it'll make it this thickness. If you do 4 crystals, it will be a bit thicker and thicker again. If you do 5, 6, however many, 2 probably won't work because it will just be like a flat piece, but anything beyond 3 will work. You'll just get a bit of space through the middle if you use more than 3, which you might have to use like a cord or something to go through the middle. But to make things easy for today, we're going to go with 3 beads. That's the simplest and also the quickest option. So 3 little crystals on your needle just there. Welcome to a few extras who've just turned up. We have Eileen, we have Peach, Sandy has joined us from California. We have Okano maybe from Austria, and we have Dawn who's joined us as well. So now let's slide these 3 down towards, Dawn is in London, she says. Let's slide these down towards the end of our thread. You don't want it to be too close to the end. Do you know what? I might cut off some of this thread because I don't need so much. So you don't want it to be too close to the end because you can use this thread for adding on your clasp if you want to add on a clasp, or for stitching the 2 ends together to turn it into a bangle. So now we've gone through gone through the 3 beads. We've slid it down. We're going to pass through all 3 beads once again, just to get it into a bit of a circle shape. And if it helps, because you can either just tie the 2 ends together now, or just pass through 1 more bead a 3rd time. And when you pull that tight, it will lock everything into that nice little circle shape right there. Or in this case, technically it's a triangle, but also sort of a circle shape. Oh, I forgot to put the seed beads in between. Oh no, I'm not remembering. I'm only half paying attention. It's all right. We can do that after. We can do it now. So we want to have a seed bead between each one of these little gaps. So 1 in that gap. This will keep it nice and tight anyway. So it won't matter that I've done it afterwards. So a bead between each of these little crystals. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. You can either do it at the beginning or you can do it after like I am now. And it will give you the same end result. Because luckily we have nice large hole crystals, it's not going to matter. You just need to make sure that when we finish, you've got a seed bead between each little crystal, and we're exiting from that little seed bead there, see? So there we go. We've got a crystal, a seed bead, a crystal, a seed bead, a crystal, and a seed bead. You can do the seed beads at the very beginning if you prefer, or you can do them after, just like I've done. And there you have it now. So now that is like one level, if you will, because we're going to be adding levels, sort of stacking them one on top of the other to create our netting. And all we have to do now is pick up 7 seed beads, and we're going to go from one seed bead to the next one. So our 7 seed beads will wrap around the outside edge of that little bicone there. So if I just grab 7 seed beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, get it in screen a bit more, 5, 6, and 7 little seed beads onto your needle. And then we're going to just go, as I said, around there, skip that bead, and just straight into the next seed bead around the circle. When you pull that tight, it's going to give you a bit of spacing at the beginning, but that's perfectly fine. We don't care about that. And it's going to have this sort of shape around the edge there. Now, the reason that there's a little bit of space here, we want that, I'll explain in a minute. But for now, we'll just continue on. We're going to pick up another 7 beads, and we're going to do the same process around the next one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to go from this seed bead and into the next one. Keep it nice and tight. So if you keep it pressed with your thumb, it gives you something to sort of purchase against, to pinch like that, and you can get it nice and tight. There we go. And now we're going to do it one last time. So we'll pick up 7 more beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 beads. And we're going to skip around and pass into the very first bead. See that? That's that first one where we started. We'll go through that, and we pull tight. And now if you have a look, each one of the little crystals, there's 1 bead, 1 bead, and 1 bead where we started, and then 7 here, 7 here, and 7 here. So the reason that we have 7 beads, it's very important that you use an odd number. So for example, if you were using a bigger bead, maybe you'd use 9 or 11 or 13. It has to be an even number, otherwise an odd number, otherwise the technique doesn't work. So because it's an odd number, it means we can weave to the bead that is at the center of the group. So it will be, I'll show you. If we have a look, get that nice and pointy. Look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you look at where the 4th bead is, it means there's 3 beads on this side and 3 beads on that side. That's what we want. So we're going to pass through 3 beads and the one that's in the middle. So pass through 4 beads to get to the tip, the central bead. You want to be exiting from that central bead from the group of 7. Once we've done that, now all we have to do is start picking up crystals, and we're going to start joining our little groups together. So if you have a look, we've got, there's 1, 2, 3. That's the second part of this little group of 7. Then we have that bead where we started. And then if you remember, here's our next group of 7. We've got 1, 2, 3. This one here is the middle of that group there. So what we're going to do is pick up one of our 4 mil crystals. And remember how we just counted? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we'll go into the 8th bead because that's the middle of that next group. Hold it tight. And as you pull it, I'll do it loosely for now so you can see. I'll do the whole thing loosely for now, just so you can see it a bit clearer when it all comes together like that. When we pull this together, it's going to pull the 2 tips, the tip of this section and the tip of this section together. And then we're going to repeat that process twice more. So if we have a look, we'll pick up 1 more crystal, and we're coming out the middle of this little group of 7 here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to go through the 8th bead, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one just here, number 8, which is the middle of the next triangle of beads. And as we pull that tightly, it will just, here we go, pull, 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 pull. Bring that little edge upwards. See, there's that next little triangle section. It comes upwards. I'll loosen it so you can sort of see again. See, we added a crystal there to go to this tip, a crystal here to go to the next tip. Then we're going to pick up one more crystal, and we're going to go again. We're going to skip 7 beads. So the second half of this group of 7, there's the 1 bead that was the joiner. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and through the 4th bead, which if you look closely, this little thread is exiting from the same bead we want to go through. So this is the bead we're going to go through. I'll just rotate it a little to make it a little bit easier for myself. So this is the bead where that thread is exiting. So this is the bead we need to go through. And then as I pull that tightly, I'll keep it loose for a second. So you can see we've got, look, 1, 2, 3, and then just pull, 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 and it will all close up like that around our work and give us another little group of 3 beads in a nice little section like this. And you can look, it goes seed bead, crystal, seed bead, crystal, seed bead, crystal, seed bead here as well. And that's a nice little group of 7. And once we're at that point, it's a lot like how we started. And so now we can continue doing it the exact same way we were. So if we have a look from the side of our work, just here, wait for it, there we go. There's our bottom layer. This is the new layer we've just created. So let's make another row on top of that. So the way we're going to do that is by picking up, we're exiting from, I need to keep my hand steady, clearly, a little bit steadier, more steady. So we're going to exit from this seed bead, we're going to pick up 7, and we're going to go into that seed bead, which is on the other side of this crystal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seed beads. We're going to jump across and go through that seed bead after the crystal, like this. Try not to pierce your thread if you can avoid it. Pull through, and that's going to create a nice little group of beads going around that crystal. So now I'll pick up 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to skip this next crystal. So we're going to go around it. And if you have a look, this is the very tip of that next group, the bead between the 2 crystals. Pull that tight. We've got 7 there. And if I just rotate this slightly, it'll make my life a bit easier. There we go. Hold that. We'll pick up 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seed beads once again. And we're going to jump from here and into the little seed bead that is joining these 2 crystals to each other. So if we look carefully, it's this one just here, this little bead here. So we'll go through this one here, and then we want to go through the next 4 seed beads, remember, so that we get to the tip of our little group. So this is the one that's between the crystals. Then 1, 2, 3, 4 through there. Pull nice and tight, and that gives us our next little group around. I'll just zoom out a little because clearly the focus is a little bit more difficult when it's so close. So now that we have that, hold it nice and tight. Keep your firmness, your tension nice and firm. We're going to pick up a crystal. I told you, this is a really easy technique. So now we're going to go from here. We're going to skip 7 and go into the bead that is at the middle of the next group of 7. Pull that tight. And once we've done our first row, it's way easier because you've got something to be holding on to underneath. So you can pull that tight and then just rotate it a little in your fingers there. We'll pick up another crystal, and we'll skip to the next one. So that is this little bead here, that one. And we'll pass through it, pull tight, try and get that nice and firm. If you find that your tension is going a bit loose, like what happened here, just pull on one of the crystals like that. And then when you pull on this thread, it will all go back to being nice again. There we are. So now let's do it again. We'll pick up one more crystal. And from here, we're exiting this one, and we're going to go into this little bead back here where this crystal is connected, and pull it tight. And there you go. We have our 3rd row now completed. So we have our 3 crystals nice and tight with a seed bead here, a seed bead here, and a seed bead there. Pull it tight. Grab it with these fingers to keep your tension nice and firm. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seed beads, like so. We're going to jump from the seed bead joining these two crystals to the seed bead joining the next two crystals just here. Waiting for it to get in focus. There we go. And we'll go through there, pull tight, and there's that next little group of beads around that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we've learned the technique. At this point, it's literally just a process of repeat, 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 repeat until you reach the length that you need. So I'll just finish off this little row that I'm doing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we'll go back into this one. And same as before, we want to weave through to the middle of this little group. There it is there. So that's the fourth bead from that group of 7. Pull it tight. And if you have a look, I'm still holding it tight with my fingers just here. Pull, pull, pull. And there you go. You have that nice little next section ready, firm. And we can do our crystals to complete this fourth row. So there's that bead there, which is at the tip. And we'll pinch. And if I rotate it and then pinch to keep my tension, grab the next crystal, and we will go into the one at the tip just here and pull tight like so. Then I'll pull tight, rotate it a little, and pinch. Pick up my final bead and back into the seed bead where we started this little circle. And now pull tight. And there we are. See that? Now, if we have a look, we have our first row we did, the second row, which has a crystal, a crystal, and a crystal. Then we have our third level and our fourth level of beads. So that process, you can just continue that. And like I said, if you wanted to do it with 4 beads, 4 crystals, 7 crystals, 8 crystals, it's exactly the same. That you just do a group of seed beads around each crystal, then to the next crystal, then the next, and then when you get back to the beginning, you just go to the tip of the groups that you've just made, so always an odd number of beads, then pick up a crystal, go to the tip of the next group of seed beads, then the next, and as many times as wide as you make it until you've created that little shape just there. And then, as I said, if you want to do it with bigger beads as well, it works exactly the same. So now that we've sort of got the concept down, you can see we've done it here with, you can alter it however you like. You can do it plain. You could make your vertex bead or a different color if you wanted to make it easier to spot it. You can do it with larger beads and you just increase the number of beads in your rows. See if you have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because this is a 4 mil bead. But if you have a look, this one here is a 6 mil. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seed beads just to give us that little bit of extra space to do the larger bead. That's all you have to do. If you have a bigger bead, add a couple extra seed beads to make sure that you have the space to get around the bead when you're doing your netting. Now, when it comes to the actual clasp section, if we have a look at this just here, we have our, just go, hey, here's one I made earlier. And you can see I've done lots of rows. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 levels. You might need to do a few more. Depends on your size of wrist. This is surely too small for me, but maybe like 45 rows or something like that. You've just got to compare it to your size. But basically what you need to do to make sure that your bangle will fit you is that if you put your hand like this, sort of as small as you can get it, you need to make sure that your bangle will fit over this part just here. This is where it's the thickest and the largest, is around your knuckles, and when you've got your thumb in and everything, that's where it's largest. It'll also go a little bit larger maybe here, but you can sort of relax your thumb at that point and it'll just roll on like that, see? But you need to make sure that you do it big enough that it will be able to pass this point here where your knuckles are and all of that sort of stuff. So that is the size you need to measure it to. So if we look at this one, it's surely too small for me to get over that point thus far. So it would surely need at least a few more rows, but I'd say this is probably a good Maxine size. So for me, I would need it to be at least another inch longer, which is probably something in the region of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or maybe 7 rows more for me personally. But I'm making it to Maxine size, of course. So what I'll do is just sort of continue on where we are, and I'm going to stitch the two ends to each other to create a perfectly seamless finish where you can't tell where it starts or where it ends. Now, the handy thing is that when you do this, it's just repeating the same process again. The only difference is that you need to, instead of doing groups of 7, the middle bead of your group of 7 is on the other side of your work. So if you have a look, I've got a nice length of thread just here that I'll work with, and this is sort of like my tail end, so I won't go with this one. This one's much longer, so I'll make the end with this side here. So let's just thread my needle onto this end, like so. And we can now stitch the two ends to each other, and you want to make sure that it's not twisted, because if you twist it, it will be twisted forever. So just try and keep it aligned. If you have a look, we've got, I'll zoom in so you can see, just here, like this. You want to make sure that your work isn't twisted. So if you have a look, we have a crystal on the top here. It's on the top, it's on the top, on the top. Still, there's the little join there, and then it's on the top, on the top, on the top, on the top, 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 top. Still on the top. Here's on the top. Here, 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 and here. See, if you have a look, it would be really easy to just rotate it a little. And if you have a look, it goes from being on the top, and then over here, all of a sudden, they sort of roll outwards. See, look, now it's not on the top anymore. And you can realize, oh no, that's twisted. You got to make sure it stays on the top like that. So look, there's a crystal there, then the next one's there, the next one's there, next one's there, then it's here, here. And now we know that it is aligned like that there, see? That's very important. Otherwise, your work will be twisted. Hey, maybe you want it to be twisted. That's up to you. You can do that. But if not, I think it's much, much better if you try and keep it straight like this, because it will definitely last much, much better. So now, if we have a look, what we're going to do is join this little piece to this one here. So where am I coming out of? So if I have a look, I should have done it like this first. Here we go. So I'm coming out of this bead. If I do it nice and straight, you can see that it's going to continue straight, and I can just bring it around like so, and the two will stay on the top. So from here, what we're going to do, I'm going to work in this direction. The thread is coming out this way. I'm going to join this little middle bead to that one just there. So that's the next one around. That little bead just here. Let's just zoom in a touch. So what I have to do, and once I've done this, I've only got to do the first group of beads, and then it will be really easy. We're going to be picking up beads in groups of 3. So if you go 1, 2, and 3 seed beads like this, if you imagine, you know how we did them in groups of 7 before? Well, if you think about it, this is half of a group of 7. Then this bead would be the middle one, and then we do another group of 3, which gives us the rest of our group of 7. So 3 here, 1 there, and 3 more makes 7. So if we make sure we go in the same direction, so we're working in this way, we need to continue in that same direction, pass through that bead towards that same direction, and we pull that through. It doesn't need to be tight yet, just like this. And then what we're going to do is continue working in this direction. So now we're here. We want to continue in this way. 1, 2, 3 more seed beads. And once we have them on our needle, we're going to continue in that direction and go into the next little group between 2 crystals. So that little seed bead there is between the next group of crystals. So we'll pass through it in the same direction. And if you have a look, when I pull that tight, it creates that next little group around that crystal. See there? See, like that little group of 7, it finishes it off. I need to pull it a little bit tighter so it'll fit nicer, but it's easier to do that towards the end. But if you have a look, there you go. Look, there's the 3 and a vertice, there's 3 and 3, and back to this side here. So now I can rotate it a little bit more, and I'll pick up 3 more seed beads, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go back onto this side of our work and through the next seed bead around the circle. So this one, we're going to go through that bead just there and pull it tight. If it gets a bit loose, don't worry, it's easy to fix. And now we need to go through the next seed bead back over on this side. So again, if I just grab 3 more seed beads, which is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to just pass into the next little seed bead around the circle, the top of our little netting chain, technically, that we're making here. And we go through that bead, pull tight, just make sure it doesn't get caught inside, which I have done. So if I just take that, where are we? Go back out, make sure it stays on the right side of your work. Actually, I can just pull it out because I haven't gone through enough yet. So make sure that it stays on the outside of your work. Come on now. Oops. I'll have to take my needle off, it seems. It's always better. If you make a mistake, take the needle off. That's what I always say. So here we go. If we have a look, you want to make sure it stays on the outside of your work. Don't let it cross over. And I'll just put my needle back on. And I'll continue. See, it's easy to make little mistakes. Even I make them. That if you're keeping track of what you're doing, you'll find that they're easy to rectify if you do it just at the time that you make the mistake. So there we go, through there, and just have a look now. Make sure that we stay on the outside of our work, just here. There we go. So we need to go through this bead on the outside, keep this tail thread out the way, and we'll pull this up now. There we go. Now it's going to work better. There. Perfect. So there's our next one. So now I'll just rotate it a bit more. We're almost finished. And we need 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to jump back to the first side again through this bead just here. There it is. Pull that tight. And don't let it get caught. There we go. And that will lock in to there. And now we'll just do one last time. We just need to make this join from here to here, and then we're finished pretty much. 1, 2, 3 beads from here. This is the final one, just there between the crystals. Pull it tight, and it will create that nice little bit of a join in there. And now if I rotate it, you'll see it's perfectly joined. You would never know where the join was. See that? So it is a very, very easy way of stitching the two together. You're literally just going from one side, from one seed bead, pick up 3, and then go to the seed bead on the other side. Pick up 3 and jump back to the seed bead on this side. Pick up 3, jump to the far side, back to this side, over to that side, as many times until you get all the way back to the start. And then, hey presto, your work is finished. So it's as easy as that for doing your bangle. But if you would prefer to do a clasp, I'll show you how to do that too. So that one is very, very similar. Except what we're going to do is sort of create like a 3-strand structure together. It's almost going to make like a nice little tripod section at the top of our work, which we'll use to connect our clasp up there. So very, very easy as well to do this. Elaine says, very clever. I've never tried making a bangle, so thank you. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. This is a nice, easy bangle to start with. But now let's have a look. I might need more thread than this, to be honest. I'll show you a technique for joining extra thread so that you will not run out and I can continue. I'll grab a completely different color so you can see where the two different threads are. Let's grab my lovely scissors, and this is more than enough. So what we're going to do to join these two threads, this is a good technique. You may run out of thread at some point during your project. You can use this exact same method at any time during your project to extend your thread to make it long enough. But anyway, all you have to do is with your short end thread, fold it like sort of like this and pinch it together so that it creates like a little loop like that there. So it's literally just going, if I can hold it nicely like that, into a loop. You can make this smaller if you want to. The smaller you make this, the shorter the loop will be. So it's kind of up to you, but you can also have it a bit longer if you find that's easier. And what we're going to do, we're going to take our new thread now. And the easiest way to do this, there's a slightly more, there's a slightly stronger version, but it is more difficult to do. So I'll just show you the easy way today, is to go from the underside up and through that loop like this. And then what we're going to do is take this underneath both of these pieces here. So it's almost like we're bending it back on itself underneath the other one. So come on now. There we go. So just pinch that there. Ah, goodness. It's not happening for me today, is it? There we go. One there. And we take this up through here and pinch it in your fingers. I just have fat fingers today, clearly. There we go. So hold it like this. So this one's going this direction like this and then comes out here. This one is literally going through the loop and then underneath both of those two threads there. So if I'm just very gentle, hopefully it will stay. No, maybe not. So let's just take this one now. So it goes underneath both of those two, and then we take it up and through the loop that's created at the top here. So inside that loop, so it goes over the top of the two underneath and through that loop. And now all we have to do is grab the two ends together, like so, and just pull them apart. So there, pull and pull. And as you do this, this will now create a very, very strong knot that doesn't come undone. See that? And it's also a very, very fine knot so that it will pass through beads. See that? It's really, really, really small. By doing that, it's very, very secure, but you can continue adding beads and it doesn't cause a problem later down the line. So I'll pick up a few beads. I'll do like maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll do a row or two just to sort of show you that you can continue beading as you were with this method. So let's just do one more level just to sort of hide that thread. And then I'll show you how to add on the clasp. So at this point here, we're already coming out the middle of our little group just here. I'll thread on my needle. Through that eye. There we go. And now let's do the same process again. So I'll use the crystals to join the end. And hopefully, maybe that'll even be enough. So let's go through the middle of this one. And as you can see, look, the needle, the knot just passes directly straight through that bead without a problem. So now let's do another crystal. And we'll jump to the middle of the next group, just here. And now our last one is going to go back to where we started, which is here. Pull tight. There we go. And look, that little knot just passes straight through that, through the whole of each bead. And I can use my seed beads now, which obviously I forgot to pull some of them out. And I can continue with my next couple. I'll do one more row of each, and then I'll do my clasp section. So now let's just pick up my seed beads. 1, 5, there we go. And we're going to pass around into the next crystal. The seed bead around like that. Then we'll do it again. There we are. And through that little seed bead here. And the handy thing is, see these seed beads? See, look, that knot is now gone. The knot has been lost, which is very, very cool. So your beading, you now just can continue carrying on doing your work as you were. But the knot is gone, disappears into your work, never to be seen again. And these two threads, you can just cut them off. So if I just grab my scissors, this thread can go, and this tiny little thread can also go. We don't need you. And look at that. We've got a brand new thread attached very, very securely, and we're ready to continue. So I'll add on the crystals, and then we'll start doing our clasp. So here we go. One, and into the next. And the handy thing is, once you've sort of learnt the technique, you just repeat, and you get very, very quick at it, that you can make your entire thing relatively quickly. Like I would say an entire bangle, once you've got your technique learned, you could do an entire bangle in probably somewhere in the region of about 3 hours. So it's not long at all, is it? So anyway, what we're going to do now is something kind of similar, but what we'll do is sort of use our little base here, here, and here to make like a tripod shape. So the easiest way to do that is if we pick up 1, 2, 3, 4 beads, which would be, you know, part of our 7. If you imagine that this would be your 3 beads plus the half a 1 extra, and then I want it to sort of go upwards straight. So I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads more, like so. And then I'm going to pick up 1, well, I'll go through my clasp section. See, like this here? Just take it through your clasp, pull that nice and tight, slide that down. And what we'll do now is just go back down through 2 of these 2 beads just here at the top. Like so. See those 2 there? Like that. And as we pull that tight, we can make sure it slides all the way down to your work. It'll make it fairly secure. Just there. And we can go into the other side of that little bead in that group there, you'll see, and it will sort of just put this group of beads directly straight on top of our work. So if we pull this through here like this, get it as firm as we can, slide it all the way down. There we go. A little bit more. Pull, pull, pull. Little bit further. There we are. So that's now got a nice little section just here. See that? So we've got 3 beads here. This is the one where we want to make our attaches to, and then that one there is where our clasp goes to. So now we can pick up 3 beads. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go into our next little crystal around, like so. And it's going to create part of this little tripod shape. See that? But because we want it to be a tripod, we don't want to add another group of beads here. We want to go back up these 3 here, like so. See that? And then we'll go through this middle bead, like there. Pull it nice and tight. And now we'll pick up 3 more beads. 1, 2, 3. And we can go through this next little one around our edge. 1, 2, 3. And make sure your thread goes over the top so it stays like this. And if you look, when we pull that tight, we have a nice little tripod shape. So now we can go back up those same 3 beads. 1, 2, 3. And pull it nice and tight. We'll go back up through that bead that's at the tip of that little tripod-y piece there, and the 2 beads above, and pull tight. And then we can go back through our clasp section again, and back down these 2 beads here, and finally into that one that was at the top as well. There we go. Pull, 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 pull. And now all we have to do is find the one where we started from first. So if you have a look, hopefully I can zoom in. So see on this one here, we've only got one thread joining this to this bead. This is the one that we did first. If I come back here, look, you can see this has a thread here and here joining these three. This one also has a thread here and a thread here joining those three. So, but if we come back to this one, there's only one on this side. So we need to go back down these three beads. 1, 2, 3, and into the other side of that bead. So if you have a look, the thread is already on this side. We need to just go through the other side of that bead. And as we pull that tight, try and keep your thread from raveling or anything. Pull that tight, and now look, one on this side, one on the other, and that's going to give you a lovely firm connection. And we have this now coming out the top of our little tripod section. So if you want to, you can go back up into it, reconnect it to the clasp section again if you want to. Let's zoom back out so that we can keep focus. There we go. So yeah, you can go back up here now, back through the clasp, down your little tripod. But if you have a look, 1, 2, 3, and this is now perfectly in the center of your beadwork, keeping it all nice and close together. And you can do the exact same thing on the other end of your work, and it will give you that same finish on this end here. I don't have the thread on this end to attach it, but you could use the exact same process as I did on this side to do this. And now all you have to do is just weave your work, your thread, back into your work. So if you don't know how to do that, I will show you. We're going to just weave down through some of these seed beads until we're sort of back somewhere in our work, a little bit further down, you know. We don't want to be stuck on the outside at the top. It's better if you take it down, 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 down through your work until you are way, way further down. This process also firms your work up, which is nice. But once you're, let's go through this little one here. And I'm going to start tying my first few knots. So at this point just here, what we'll do is, if you have a look, we're exiting between this bead here. I'll zoom in a bit. We're going to do what's called a blanket stitch knot. So there's a bead here, there's a bead here. We're exiting from this bead, and see how there's a tiny little thread just there. See, I'm underneath that thread. You can see where it sort of cuts off the needle. We're going to go through that gap so that our thread is underneath. And if you have a look here, it creates this little loop. See there? There's a nice little loop there. So now all we have to do is come and bring our needle back through this loop. And as long as you keep your sort of threads above your work, that little bit there will become a perfect little knot inside there. And if you are wanting it to be even firmer, just to be extra sure, you can do a second one in the same spot. Then just make that same loop. Make sure your thread doesn't get caught over itself. Keep it above. And then don't let it twist, like mine obviously decided it would want to. There we go. And then pull, 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 pull. And that will lock in there. And now you can continue on. So I'll pass through the next couple of beads, through this one, maybe somewhere here. Doesn't matter where. Just as long as you're between any two seed beads. Look, there's our thread. We'll go underneath this thread here, and we'll do another blanket stitch knot. So pull until this loop gets nice and small. I'll try and turn it over so that it doesn't twist. We'll go back through the loop and pull, 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 like so, and make sure it stays on that side of the bead. There we go. And that just locks it in. You can weave it in, do a couple more if you want to. I'll do one last one just to show you. So have a look. There's that little thread. We want to go underneath. Go through there till we have a nice little loop, like so. There's our loop. Come back and go through the loop. Pull it tight until it boom, creates that knot. And then finally, just pass through a few beads. It doesn't matter however many you want. 3, 4, 7, 21. Makes no difference how many you go through. But just go through a couple. And then you can just cut off your excess. Of course, at this point, this is where my thread decides to all ravel up and not behave. There we go. Pull through there. Come on now. Don't make a knot. There we are. And once you have that, you can just bring in your scissors and cut. There you go. So that will give you one side of your clasp done and dusted. You can do it like this to make that little tripod shape. The other one, you would just do the exact same on the other end to complete that. And then, of course, you would just have it so it makes like a nice little finished clasp like that. That's how you would do the clasp section. Of course, I've just showed you how you would do the bangle. You tie them off in the exact same way as we did just before. And then when you're finished and you want to put it on, you just roll it over your hand like so. And there it is, a lovely little bangle sitting on your hand, ready to wear, which actually, do you know what? I almost forgot. The great thing is that they are really, really good for stacking. So if you have two colors that you like, you can wear them together. If you have three colors, you could wear, let's say three is probably too many. As after three is too many. Three gives you a nice, big, solid, thick bangle. Maybe four would be too many, but you can, if you wanted to, you could wear as many as you want. Just roll them on. And there you go. There are your statement bangles, Hollywood style, and look how much they sparkle. So yeah, they're very, very sparkly little beads. This one here is wait, I will show you them over on the website rather than just tell you the names. I'll pop it over to it now. The different colors that we have, there are 6 at the minute. So if you want to go and grab yourself one, here we go. If I just pop it over to the website now, where are you, my friend? Here we go. So the website today looks like this. So feel like a star. View all 6 colors of the Hollywood bangle. It's there. From the red carpet to a stroll down Sunset Boulevard, the Hollywood bangle is perfect for any occasion. Get yours today. It's on sale until I think it's this weekend. So this weekend is when the sale is ending. You can get any 3 you want for a 15% discount. But if we have a look, you can click on that big button right there that says view all 6 colors. And when you click on it, it will take you to the page where you can view them all. They are £11.95. If you're in the UK or Europe, you can change that to your currency if it isn't automatically done, which it should be. Then, so if you have a look, the Santa Monica blue is this blue and silver lovely one here. The golden spotlight is this lovely rosy gold color. It's like a really lovely rose gold. The midnight scandal is the one that I just put the clasp onto. The aquamarine is this one just here. The Venice Beach coral is this lovely pink one. And the over the rainbow is the one that I also demonstrated with. If you just want to get the instructions, you can also get just the instructions, but the kits include instructions. Instructions included, including the thread and the needle and the beads and the seed beads. Everything is in there. But if you want to get 15% off or more, you click select options. So see this button here? Click below to choose your colors. So select options right there. And then once you've done that, you can pick any 3 or more. You can choose as many as you like. Want more than 3 kits? Select as many as you want, and the discount will apply to any extra colors too. So that means if you say, I want the over the rainbow, I loved it. I like the Venice Beach. And I like the Midnight Scandal. Ready? You'll see it. See how it's grayed out here? I'm about to select the 3rd one. Ta-da! It goes, okay, add it to the basket. And they work out about £10 each. So very, very good value for that one. But if you say, do you know what? I also want the golden spotlight. Add it. And you get that discount. So still pretty much just a tenner for that one. Add the aquamarine. You get the discount. If you want to get all of them, if you want to get all 6, add that. They're all at the discount price. If you say, do you know what? I think I don't want this one. I want 2 of these ones instead. I'm going to give one to my one to each of my two different sisters. I'm going to get two exactly the same so they don't argue with each other. You know, that sort of thing, whatever. It doesn't matter which ones you've got. As long as you have at least three, you could even get three all exactly the same if you wanted to make it into like a necklace, for example. So just say you said, hey, I'm going to make it into a necklace. I want to make a Venice Beach necklace one. You can say, yep, I'm going to get three kits there, all the same, add it to basket, and you can probably make yourself the necklace and maybe a matching bracelet as well. It would probably need the clasp, but you can do that and make the necklace the exact same way by adding the three kits together, and you get your discount of 15%. Add it to basket and it's done. So now, of course, as I said, if you want to do it in whichever currency, so if you're in Canada and for some reason you have a US dollars bank account, you can change it to USD and you'll only be charged US dollars. You won't have any bank fees for getting UK, pounds, whatever it is. It's up to you. If we head back to the home page very quickly, though, in case you missed it, I may as well show them to you. Oh, that's something else. I can't remember if I told you all or not. I have updated the shipping on, whoops, I pressed the wrong button there. I've updated the shipping on our website, so it's even cheaper than ever. So if you're in the UK, the shipping, as long as your order is over £20 and you have an account, you get free members shipping anyway. But if you don't have an account, which is free, shipping is now from £2.05 if you wanted to. This one's a bit heavier, so it's a little bit more. It's all done by weight. The whole thing is automated. But if, for example, you said, I am in, I don't know, where is it? The US. You can now, we finally done it. The whole thing is automated. £8, or I should put it in dollars. Oh, well, too late now. If you look over here, look, you could get it £8 and you can have standard airmail. Otherwise, you can get tracked for £9. £9, sorry. So it's much, much cheaper than it was ever before. You've got your kits and the postage is now cheaper than ever before for everywhere, actually. We've managed to have, we've done a deal with Royal Mail. Because of you guys shopping so much, it's allowed us to negotiate better rates with Royal Mail. And so now our shipping can be cheaper than ever to everywhere, including here in the UK. So if you want to go and shop with us, it will be even less than it's ever been before. Our members free shipping for orders over £20 is still running, of course, if you are in the UK and you have an account. But for our international customers like you in America, whomever, if you were in the UK, just ignore me doing that. But you in America or you in Canada or Australia, whatever, the whole process is now automated and easier. New Zealand, if you're in New Zealand, we have lots of New Zealanders who watch too. It's all automated and much, much quicker and easier for all of you to do the shipping as well. So hopefully now you've learned and you will be able to repeat. We have a question just here. I don't know if you mentioned it, but can you use size 11 beads instead of size 10? Yes. If you wanted to, you could use any size beads. You could use size 8 seed beads. You could use 15 size seed beads. You could use whatever size you want. It is all entirely up to you how you want to do it. Today, I have used 4mm bicones and size 10 seed beads. You can, if you want it to be a bit more chunky, you could do 6mm and do a necklace with that, for example. If you want it to be even finer, you could use like a 2mm crystal and size 15 seed beads. I mean, you could use 2mm crystals and size 10 seed beads if you wanted to, but it's up to you how you do it. But the technique is exactly the same, irrelevant of what bead you wanted to do. I mean, you could do something with like, I don't know, like 10mm beads and make something really fat if you wanted to make like, I don't know, and then use like 3mm beads instead of seed beads. It's up to you how you do it. The technique is irrelevant of the size of the beads. You just want to try and find a combination that looks good together. Like, for example, 6mm beads and size 15 seed beads, maybe it's too big of a difference, where 6mm beads or 8mm beads and size 8 seed beads might look good. 4mm crystals and size 10 or 11 seed beads looks good. It's up to you to play with it and see what you want. But you've learned the technique now, and you can use it any way you like. So hopefully you had fun. I do have my next live tutorial will be in 2 weeks' time. So not this Friday coming in a week. It'll be the Friday after, which will be something like the 14th, I think. I've got some good plans for that. Also, we're updating and adding new lots of our freshwater pearls. So we've just updated the photographs of the old ones, and we're going to add another 40 or so different options. I can show you, actually. Why not? Why not? There's more coming, so maybe wait a few days at least before you go and buy some pearls, because you might want some more. Who knows? But if we head back to the website very quickly, beads, pearls, freshwater pearls. We've updated many of the photos so that you get a better idea of what they look like. Like, look at these. Look at that. Is that not a lovely photo? Look at that. There you go. Brand new photos, because they give you a much more accurate representation. I think, wait a minute. I'll show you one of the ones which has an old photo, just to give you an idea, because I took a few photos and I didn't do a very good job. Where is it? Like, for example, this photo just here is not my finest work ever. They look a lot more like, let's see, like this. This here is a gray version of this bead. So if we have a look and pop it up on the screen, you can see how lovely the surface looks. And wait, there we go. You can see how lovely the surface is. It looks much, much more accurate and all of that. And then we have my old photo, which we're now replacing all of them. There's the very last one. Same bead, except white and gray, literally, is right there to sort of compare. But anyway, so half of the new freshwater pearls are up, but there will be more coming very, very soon. So anyway, that's it for this week. I'll be back in 2 weeks' time. There will be emails and sales and stuff going on in the interim. So make sure you keep an eye out for those sorts of things as well. I hope you had lots of fun. I hope you learned some good things. Just to do a quick recap on what we did, we learned how to do tubular netting with crystals and size 10 seed beads. Basically, what you do is do them in layers where you add a ring of 3 crystals, and then you add your seed beads around each crystal. So for the sake of my one, I did 3 4mm crystals in a nice little ring. And then we added 7 seed beads, 7 seed beads, and 7 seed beads. And then what you do is you stitch to the middle of one of the groups of 7, then add a crystal and stitch to the middle of the next group of 7, then stitch to the middle of the next group of 7 with a crystal until you get all the way back around 3 times. Stitch it up, and then just repeat that process again and again and again and again. So there you go. That's the very quick recap. I also showed you how to make it as a clasp, and I also showed you how to do it as a bangle. So there were lots and lots of things in there. Hopefully you had lots of fun. That's going to be it for me for today. We'll sign off. I see we've still got Eugenia who's here. She says, geometry at its best. She says, thanks, Matthew. Julia also said, that was fantastic. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Jan, unfortunately, is going to miss my next stream. Hopefully you won't miss it if you, everybody else, if you sign up to our email newsletter. That's the best way to know. Or if you're on YouTube, if you click the little notification bell, it will let you know when we're going to be doing our next one. Yana says, thank you. It was awesome. I'm glad you joined it. And I think you may, I don't know if I've seen your name before, but thanks for joining me and welcome. Angelica said, beautiful, beautiful design. Thank you, Matthew. Renska, she had to leave. She said, I have to leave now. Thank you. It was lovely yet again. But hopefully I will see many of you again in 2 weeks' time. So as I said, make sure you sign up to the newsletter. The email newsletter is the best way to know what's coming and what sales we have. So anyway, have a lovely weekend. I will see you all in 2 weeks' time. Go have fun. Go try some tubular netting. And until then, I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me, and bye-bye.